Welcome to the Business Spotlight Series. I'm Rick Plaskett, a certified business and leadership coach here in Columbus, Ohio. And today my guest is Colby Monachino. He is the owner and a partner with Monachino Partners. And I think the key part of the partners is this is a father-son business. And I think there's some unique views on the business from that and something that makes this company very, very special. But today we're going to be talking to Colby about his business, some of the challenges that he has, his best practices, and share a peek into what it's really like to build his business and to operate it. If this is your first time on the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe so you can get notifications in the future of new interviews with new business owners. So Colby, welcome and thank you for being here today.
Thanks, Rick. Thank you for having me.
Hey, let's get started with your background. Help the audience know a little bit about how did you get to be here today and one of the two partners in your business, and then tell us a little bit about what that business focuses on and maybe even what makes it unique today.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for having me. I'm based here in Columbus, Ohio. Our company's based in Columbus. We operate nationally, with a national focus, so we operate all over the country. I'm an Ohio State graduate. And so out of college, I started off in the trade association space. So I worked for a company called NFIB. It was a trade association that represented small business owners across the United States. And I had a couple different roles there, but specifically worked my latest role in the grassroots lobbying side of the business. And I got a lot of experience working with small business owners and grew my passion for that doing it. I spent a lot of time on the road at their businesses. And, as I started to grow, I think I realized, politics maybe wasn't the career for me, but my current partner and father, Joe Monachino, has been in the security space, and that's where our company currently is focused. For over 40 years, he co-founded a company back in 2005 called Alarm Funding Associates. It was an acquisition-focused company in the security space, and in 2019, they went through a rebrand and sort of a refocus, reorg of the company. And so when that took place, I saw an opportunity to come on board there. A lot of the companies they acquired from were all small businesses, security companies. The company provided growth capital liquidity option for owners. And so I came on board there. So I came on into the security space in 2020 and managed the central United States for Alarm Connection. So that's what the company rebranded to. And so I managed pretty much Michigan down to Texas. And it was a really good experience. I had a little bit of a mix of business development with current partner dealer management. And in April of 24, that company sold to Alert 360, which is another company within the security space. So as we were working through that process, my father and I were, talking about, all right, what's next for us? And I kind of always had this entrepreneurial kick to start my own business one day. And while young still, I felt like I had a good amount of experience under my belt within the M&A space and security, working with small businesses. I knew that was a passion of mine. So that's how Monachino Partners was born. We started in April of 24, shortly after the merger ended between Alarm Connections and Alert 360. So Monachino Partners, we're a mergers, acquisitions, and consulting company that caters to business in the security, fire, and life safety and integration sectors. So within the security space, we offer brokerage and consulting services. So we work with companies that are looking to sell or looking to acquire. We'll work for those looking to sell. We'll work hands-on, helping them prepare to go to market. We educate them on the process, what to expect, the different type of buyers out there, and prepare them. So we put together what we call a confidential information memorandum, or a SIM. It's a Bible on the company. And ultimately, when they're ready to go to market, they're prepared. And for the buyer, they have a lot of the information they would need to analyze the company. On the acquisition side, on the buy side, we'll work with acquirers and help identify opportunities for them. And additionally, with our past experience, we can also manage the due diligence process as well. So on both the sell side and the buy side, we never work on the same at the same time. We don't double dip, but on both sides, we manage the process from start to finish. We can be as involved as our client likes us to be, but we work hands-on supporting them from start to finish. On the, go ahead.
No, I was just continue.
Yeah.
I was jumping the gun.
No, on the consulting front, we have, a wide range of services we offer. If a company is currently working through a acquisition and they don't necessarily need a broker to quarterback the process, they'll bring us in to manage the due diligence, and we'll work on the back end. We work with a lot of companies that come to us and say, "Hey, I have 2 or 3 years before I'm ready to sell. I'd like to get an understanding of what my company's worth, areas to clean up." And ultimately, we kind of help them begin to start that process. It can be a 1 or 2 year process as you're preparing to get your business ready. And we also have individuals, owners that come to us and say, "Hey, not ready to sell, but I do want to understand what my business is worth currently, and maybe some areas I can focus on to better clean up my operations." And finally, we offer post-acquisition integration services. So if you've completed an acquisition and you need help with converting the billing, different CRM and operational systems, we can be a support system for that. We can help identify key members of your staff to take point during that time frame, and then as well with any customer communications, transition marketing on that front. So we're a full service firm, and really can tailor solutions best to whatever a company may need.
Sounds like you can be a partner cradle to grave when someone decides that transitioning from ownership to selling the business is their priority. You've got the ability from the first thought to the final signature and the exit. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Super.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, great. So help us with what's the ownership structure? Are you and your father 100%, or do you have any outside investors that are involved in your business?
Yeah, good question. We're 100%. We have no outside investors. We're technically classified as an LLC partnership by definition.
Super. Okay. What's your current role in the business today?
Yeah, so I'm the co-founder and chief operating officer. So we're a two-man group. So I'm sure as many small business owners can sympathize with, we wear many hats. But so I oversee all of our day-to-day operations. I lead our M&A initiatives and marketing efforts as well. My father has a lot of experience within the M&A industry, so he oversees a lot of once a deal is in the door, a lot of the due diligence effort and support, as well as a lead on working with a buyer or seller's representation, depending on what side of the aisle we're working on. And he and I work together on going to different trade association conferences and speaking and all of that. But we work well together. We're something that we both do and that we're both involved with is regardless of how you're working with us, whether it's consulting or brokerage, is you get the both of us. So you get the owners. We're both involved. So, no matter what we're doing, we're both working with you. I might, depending on the project, I might be a lead and he might be a lead on something else, but you get the both of us. We work in tandem, and we both work really well together.
So the way you presented that to me, is it fair to say that you're kind of Mr. Outside? You are the marketing, sales, and bringing the opportunities in, and once they are agreed to work with you, then your dad is Mr. Inside, and then the two of you can work the client together until they've reached their desired end conclusion?
Yes, yeah, I would
Okay.
say that's accurate. He's got 45 years in the space, so everyone knows him. But yeah, with the day-to-day roles, that's accurate.
Super, super. So looking at those roles, how much of your time, Colby, is working in the business on those nuts and bolts, and how much of your time, percentage-wise, is looking to the future and the strategies, the planning, and the goal setting?
Yeah, I would say right now it's actually probably about, you know, 70-30. And,
Hmm.
where we started in 2024, and we've started with a bang, and we've been successful, but we're still new. So
Hmm.
we've definitely gone through the process of getting our name out there, and we've gotten a good amount of business under our belt. But we're still scaling, we're still growing. We do have competitors that do a really good job as well. So we're continuing to still get our name out there and focus on our growth the next 2 years, and how we're going to separate ourselves. So I do spend a lot of time on that, but I think it takes a lot, even with a two-man group, for a business to run well. And, you
Hmm.
want to ensure that your operating systems internally are organized and they run smooth, and that you have a solid marketing plan and structure, and, your pipeline is automated and integrated so that, it speaks with when you market and cultivating leads. And so a lot of the back end operating, I do spend a lot of time on, just because I know that I want it to be organized for us, when we're working with clients and prospecting at the same time. So I would say that's probably the split. It
Okay.
sometimes changes day to day, but
Minute to minute, hour to
yeah,
hour.
yeah.
Absolutely. I understand. That's great. Thank you so much. Hey, you mentioned marketing, and let's drill down a little deeper. Um, kind of like to know, what are you doing right now that's really working for you?
Mhm.
And what is it that you probably should have just stopped doing 6 months ago?
Yeah. Well, I would say that you definitely, within the brokerage space, have to be strategic with how you market. It's not always, especially if you're going to be taking. I think there's maybe two different approaches when you're taking a consulting approach versus a brokerage approach. But some people, a lot of business owners have built their businesses for 30, 40, 50 plus years. And that's their baby. So, when you're marketing, sometimes sell your business is not the most attractive email or LinkedIn
Right.
post to look at and engage with. So, it's very relationship focused. So we want to ensure that everyone knows we're a family business and that we work together, my father and I. Um, but we're kind of working with two different crowds. We have one
Mhm.
crowd that's a little bit older, ready to retire, and maybe not as on as many social media platforms, but we also have a younger crowd that's within the industry that's very intertwined. So we do a lot. We do a lot of work on LinkedIn primarily. I would say we do at least one or two posts a week on LinkedIn, educational as well as listings that we have, and we also advertise webinars and conferences we present on. So we do use LinkedIn as a platform. We're not on Instagram or Facebook yet. We're talking about it. We just want to ensure that our strategy with both would be good time and effort spent. And then obviously we have email marketing as well, and we're definitely strategic with that. I think, to answer the second part of your question, what we don't do that other companies maybe in with different focuses have the benefit of doing is we're selective with how we email. So we're not just going to take a massive email list and just blast it out once a week.
Mhm.
But what we do also offer is, we have a sign up link to get on our newsletter that we push out
Mhm.
biweekly. And we have a buyer's distribution list as well that we email to individuals that are looking to acquire. So those would be our sort of our different angles we take with marketing at
Okay.
the moment. And then we've selectively also advertised through trade publications within the industry, as well as speaking opportunities.
So when you take those four and you put them together, are you working with do you have a specific plan for, say, the second half of 2025, the shows you're going to attend, the progression of use of LinkedIn and your newsletters? Are you working to a specific plan in your marketing?
Yeah, we do start off the year by identifying what trade shows and conferences we'll be attending, and then typically a couple pop up throughout the year where we get asked to speak at them, or in some cases webinars. So that's not necessarily attending in person, but we identify those at the beginning of the year and typically lay out the meetings we know we're going to attend. That helps with budgeting too, just in terms of travel. And on the marketing front, yeah, we do have goals that we like to hit, just in terms of obtaining new contacts as well. I would say, part of LinkedIn, we're not over that hump because we're always trying to grow it. But LinkedIn initially was, let's grow our base, right? So a lot of it was organic outreach to get people to follow us, and we're continuing to grow on that front. But we look at all of our metrics on LinkedIn in terms of engagement. We look at our click-through rate on our email marketing. And then ultimately depending on the type of email, if there's a call to action that we ask, we look at the click-through, plus also if anybody followed through signing up or filling out whatever we may ask for. So, for example, we were featured in SDM, is a big trade publication within the security space. And we put a LinkedIn post out, just sort of giving the heads up that people should check out their emails that will be featured in the upcoming e-news blast for SDM. We included a link within our own LinkedIn to click through to that, as well as a link to click through to sign up to join our e-newsletter, so of our own. So we manage all of our metrics. A goal for us is, through each to at least obtain one or new contacts. And sometimes we are successful and obtain more, and, other times we're not. So we're always taking a look at, all right, the metrics, our angle and approach, and what worked and what didn't work.
Super. So if we could just dig down one more level, is in keeping track of those metrics. And obviously it sounds like you are absolutely testing and measuring what you're doing and how many new contacts you're getting from there. Do you also measure and track from new contact to close of sale? I know that your sales cycle is longer than the average transactional business. But is that something that you have taken to that level as well?
The short answer is yes.
Okay.
I think you touched on it. Our sales cycle can be 3 months, and sometimes it can be 3 years. It really just depends. You would hope it's not the latter, but it has been. In our previous life, we did acquisitions, so but we do. So we do with all of our leads. We have so we use Monday.com and Constant Contact. So Constant Contact we utilize for email marketing, and Monday.com we utilize for our pipeline of qualified leads. Qualified we would define as we've had a touch point with them. Touch point meaning speaking, email communication. We have an understanding of how they might want to work with us. But yes, we do understand where all of our leads come from and the date we first spoke with them, and ultimately from that we would understand what the life cycle would be and how long. But it is all over the place, just in terms of the work. Consulting is probably the easiest to measure, just because that work typically is obtained and signed quicker than brokerage type.
Right. So let's come and I'll go fast forward and look into the future. You've brought us to the present. You know, you are in a market segment that is very dynamic. You've got some very key um, data points driving it. The fact that there are so many businesses owned by boomers and Gen X's that are out there, and you just don't have enough millennials and Gen Zs to be able to purchase all of those businesses. So the supply side is high, the demand side just by the numbers is low, and that is something that's we can't change the number of people very easily. That is almost a constant looking to the future. So the size of your pie is diminishing. What do you see in your business in the next 3 to 5 years?
So I think that it's interesting, and you're correct in terms of there's less and less second or third generation owners coming in and taking over a family company. They exist for sure. We have a number of them within our network, but there's less and less. And so, within the space, I would say you're seeing there's a lot of activity within acquisitions, and just with a lot of different types of buyers. So,
Mhm.
you have national buyers that acquire all over the country that typically have a, minimum defined size platform they're looking for, and they're backed by private equity and
Mhm.
well capitalized to move. Uh, but that's one end. You have regional buyers that maybe operate within a couple states. Uh, Typically, probably private equity backed. Definitely have bank backing. And then you have more regional players that are maybe looking to acquire on a smaller scale. Um, but within security, I would say it's an important part of specifically, within society right now. There's so much development within security and video specifically and video monitoring, and how that is applied and integrated into commercial businesses and their day-to-day operations. And there's a lot of money to be made there. The margin is
Mhm.
high. Customers pay. There's low attrition on commercially focused companies, and it's you're typically able to grow pretty quickly just based on referrals. Organic referrals alone. So there's a lot of private equity interest in security. I don't think that it's going anywhere. Residential
Mhm.
is a little bit different of an animal, but still very prevalent. So I see the industry continuing to grow.
Mhm.
I see, there's a lot of opportunity actually for young individuals that want to get into security or just, or within trade spaces in general, I would say. You're
Mhm.
just seeing a little bit less of it, but a lot of opportunity. I think you're going to continue to see private equity interest, more of it in the trade spaces over the
Mhm.
next couple of years. And, just you're going to see a lot of acquisitions, roll up acquisitions. But within those, I would say there's good opportunity for owners to continue working as well. So,
Mhm.
it's probably a whole different conversation you can go in, but I would say, the security space definitely has, a lot of potential within the next coming years to continue growing and developing.
Would it be fair to say that part of what you have to do is condition the sellers that they're not selling to a Colby or Rick 2.0? They're not selling to a younger version of us, that the buyer is going to be more of a, like you said, venture capitalist, institutional, somebody that is looking to take what they have and put it together with something else that they have. So, again, the one-to-one, person-to-person sell buy is a diminishing return. Is that a fair assessment?
I would say it is generally, it really depends on market and where they're
Okay.
located. So, Florida, Texas, Ohio, um, Oklahoma. Some of these, there's different markets that have different types of buyers that sit within them. And,
Hmm.
some markets might have a more diverse set of buyers that those that are looking to sell could have options to choose from. So I think it's an accurate assessment. I would say one thing we do when we're preparing a company to go to market is we give, after we work through cleaning up everything and putting together a sim, we walk through with them the different types of buyers that might be out there. And some of there's a lot that comes into what they want as sellers, right? There's the
Hmm.
financial outlook, especially if you're retiring. If you have
Yep.
staff, you want them to land somewhere comfortably. And with that, there needs to be a culture fit with the seller and the acquirer. One, internally, but two, to preserve and maintain the customer experience, which is imperative. So we educate them of the different types of buyers out there. And, almost within all our major markets, we still have local regional guys that
Hmm.
are looking to acquire. And a lot of times it just comes down to fit and deal structure and what's going to provide the seller ultimately the best bang for their buck or the best, financial payout. And sometimes that lands with the groups that are well capitalized. Sometimes it doesn't, but
Right.
um, yeah, if that helps, it can be a different case, business to business. You could be in, a different state where, hey, the interest here is going to be national buyers, and we're just upfront with that. So really, geography is probably the number one, just in terms of the people that we would bring in.
So, and you know what? That seems to be the trend in any market that I work with. Any business is it's not a C to signing C type of approach in the market. That the markets are more heavily focused on geography, and it's zip code to zip code.
Mhm.
And one zip code can be exploding when the one right next to it is not. Uh,
Right.
and without that information, you're just going into this blind.
Mhm.
As you were sharing, it made me smile. I've got one client right now that's working to position his business. I mean, he's still growing exponentially, but he's also looking ahead, and he wants to position it to be passed on to his children. And so last fall, I happened to be with him in person, and he brought two of his children in and presented the idea to them, to which they threw up their hands, their eyes got big, and they almost went running out of the room, said, "Dad, I thought you loved us." And the long and short of it was he didn't realize that for more than a few decades, he was coming home at the end of the day and he was just, "Oh man, this was a tough day. Oh, this hurts. Oh, that hurts. I'm not sure about this." And that's all little kids were hearing the entire time. And so that's their impression of what was implanted on their brain at 6 years old. And then when he's asking the 20 something, "Hey, would you like to take this over now?" That's what they're thinking of. And it's taken me over 8 months of working with both generations for the younger generation to see the opportunity that his dad is envisioning. And we're moving in that direction, and it's been fun transition, but it is kind of interesting that first impression of you completely had a gap of what this value of the offer was.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's for, second or third generation owners, if they're are going to be handing it to a second or third generation. It's some are well equipped and well prepared, and maybe they have technically been running it, you know, uh,
Hmm.
for the last year or two or whatever it is, and they're ready to take that role on. And we're working with a company right now in California that's getting acquired, and they have a son that's been in the business for 25 years, and he was comfortable and is comfortable with his role, and that role potentially growing with the acquirer. But the conversation before we were even brought in was this, how do you feel about taking this over? And uh, he really didn't want to take on the business owner side. And that was just it. We worked with another company in Florida where it was the
Mm-hmm.
opposite. But we helped work with the owners on a ownership buyout transition. But you get both, and it's a big ask. You're taking on running the business entirely from somebody probably that had been doing it or has been doing it for 20 plus years.
Baseline, it's a difference in the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The US schooling system absolutely conditions and trains us to be good employees. Okay. Then, as the owner, I bring my son in and I think I'm giving him the experience of the entire business, moving him around department to department and letting him get experiences. And yet, it's still from the mindset of a W-2 employee.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, I'm getting a paycheck. Next Friday, I'll get another paycheck. It doesn't matter what I've learned. They have never learned how to think as an entrepreneur and
Right.
what the benefits and the challenges are of an entrepreneur. And this is like training an old dog to do new tricks. It's a lot more tough than it is to catch them when they're young. And there's no institution, no college in the United States that hands out a certified degree in business ownership.
Right.
So
Yeah,
you've got your work cut out for you in many of those opportunities. I
yeah,
myself was a corporate refugee when I finally shifted from corporate America to running my business, and now I've been doing it for 18 years, and there's no way that you could get me back into corporate America.
right. It's yeah, you're gonna have to pick your phone up at 6 or 7 p.m. on Friday sometimes, or Sunday or Saturday.
That's
Just
that's
happening.
right. It's a different mindset.
Yeah.
So, well, listen, we have certainly covered a lot of ground in our conversation today. And for those of you that are watching, I highly encourage you to come back and watch us a few more times after you've seen it, because Colby has definitely given us some great nuggets on the business and how quickly he has moved based on his focus and his commitment. As we wrap this up, I'd like to hit a section of rapid fire questions. All I'm looking for, Colby, is what's top of mind, single word answers. You ready?
Let's go.
All right. Colby, what is your key to success?
I think having a good vision, and determination, and you just got to have, be okay with failing a little bit too. Learn from it.
Super. What's one piece of advice that you would give to another business owner?
Learn from others. I think that's, I'm obviously still young and growing, and I'm always open to criticism and learning moments. So learn from others.
Super. I'm curious, what's a book that you're reading now or that you've read recently that you just couldn't wait to tell somebody else they really need to read this?
I'll give you two, because one probably a lot of people have heard of, but Good to Great is
Mhm.
is one, just a good business book, and then Unreasonable Hospitality as well. It has a focus on the restaurant industry, but has a ton of business parallels.
100%. Okay. One more question here. If there was one area of your business that you could focus on and improve overnight, and tomorrow would be exactly where you want it to be, what would that area of business be?
It's a good question. Good, probably good industry, or good lead generate, or consistent lead generation. I'll give you that.
Okay. So listen, before we get to the last question today, Colby, if there is somebody in the audience watching and wants to get in touch with you or wants to be your next new best customer for selling the business or buying the business, how would they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can visit our website, monachinopartners.com. Under the contact tab, you have mine and my father's cell phone numbers, emails. There's also a form on there to fill your information out. You're immediately in our system, and we'll follow up directly with you. My cell phone's 445-210-7907. You can reach me directly that way as well. And we're on LinkedIn at Monachino Partners.
Super. So here's the last question of the day. What do you find most inspiring?
Helping small business owners achieve their dreams. I think that's always been my my number one feel good and why I love doing what I'm doing. It's they've built businesses their whole life, and that's the route they took, and they've worked hard to earn what they've earned, and I love seeing them reach their next goal and destination, whatever that might be.
Awesome. Hey, Colby, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing in your journey. And thank you to the audience for watching. Know that I was inspired, and I hope that you were inspired by Colby as well. Folks, make it a great day, and bye for now.